I was walking down the street and I saw the woman cross the road. I knew I had to speak to her, so I caught up, but by the time I got round the corner, she was nowhere to be seen.
She just nipped down the alley and she grabbed me by the neck, ran me against the fence, and I was f***ed. Couldn't move. She had me by the throat. What the f*** am I gonna do now?
Eyes as cold as death, staring back at me. I only see a hell. The devil? Perhaps. How to get out of this? The wind biting at my neck, I turn up my collar. I brace an elbow. I hear a crack. The breaking of a jaw, perhaps. I run as fast as I can, guilty. I struck a woman. At the same time, feeling the burn of what could only be an alien hand on my throat.
As the alien's hand was on my throat, I felt a cold embrace of liquid trickling down my neck. Turns out, this is the alien from the Scary Movie series, and he pees through his hand. Legend has it this pee has healing properties, and I went back to the police station and said, "Jimmy, give me a report on what's happened today." Jimmy said, "No, I can't." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Hand your badge in." I said, "Why?" He said, "Hand your gun in." I said, "Why?" He said, "Jimmy, just do it." I thought Jimmy was your name. No, yours. We proceeded to talk like this for hours, smoking cigarettes way into the night. 3 a.m., no call from the wife. Ben proceeds with the story.
This city smells like... I'm going with it.
The city smells like boiled chicken.
This city smells like boiled chicken. Kind Mama used to make. There's a conspiracy in this town, and I had to get to the bottom of it. I went down the road to see Brucey. He owned a strip club in the local joint. If there was any place to sniff out a rat, either was him or knew him. I noticed the weather matched my mood as I walked down the street. Raining. I got in easy enough, sure. I knew the bouncer, did a favor for him a few years back. And I walked right into Brucey's office. He knew something was up the second he saw my eyes. I could see it, panic. I knew I had to push harder. I asked him what was going on. He knew I knew, and he knew I didn't have a badge to protect anymore. Scared him so much, there was a trickle of pee coming from his fingers. I knew what I had to do.
I threw up violently all over the floor. Made my apologies and left immediately. Looking left and right, I could see people dancing, having a good time everywhere. They didn't know. God, they didn't know. I left and nodded goodbye to the security guard. He's an old friend of mine from way back. I carried on down the street, looked up to the sky, pondering, what am I? How can I stop this? And did not know what to do, so I headed back to the apartment, opened the door, and all of a sudden I saw her.
She looked a bit strange in the light. Wasn't sure if it was the woman I think it was. You know, does it matter? Does it really matter? So I walk in, close the door. Hope it's the apartment I think I should be in, yeah? Hope it's the girl I think it is.
As I approach the shadow, confident this could be a great night, I see something extend. Oh no. That shadowy phallus it's trickling. As it raises, I see a wrist, attached an elbow. What follows is a shoulder. A full arm of pain with a trickling pissy finger. It is not the woman I desire. She is nowhere to be found. What house of pain have I entered? There's only one way to find out. I reach for my shooter at the side of my waist. I point and fire blindly at the shadow, hoping that somehow the bullets find its target. To the left of me, I see liquor, hard liquor. I quickly remove a shoe and throw it, rifling it like some kind of delirious, funky priest. Sure, I look foolish, but it is a wise man who plays the fool. The sock enters the bourbon. After a strong slug, I take out my lighter. I say something cool like, "F*** you!" Light it and throw towards a shadow. I exit by popping my collar. The building explodes behind me. Do I look back? Do I f***? I get on top of a motorcycle, it definitely ain't mine. Where am I heading? Only the open road knows. Here I go. Wind hits my face. The smell of freedom getting stronger. Leaving everything behind. In front of me, a shadow. A hitchhiker out here? Sure, maybe I'll pick you up if I'm crazy. As they approach, I make up my mind. Do I stop? Or do I continue?
I continue down the road. Legend has it these parts are some bounty hunters looking for me. But I don't care. I've changed accents in under 30 seconds. I've grown a mustache in the time it takes you to take a breath from your mama's belly, boy. And as I rolled this cigarette in my hands, as I was driving the car that was a motorbike but turned into a car after my disguise blew up, I turned to my left. Detective Saunders has sat next to me, not noticed her the whole ride. Why not? Only she knows. Again, I'm rolling a cigarette with my hands and driving with my knees. The cigarette tobacco was dry and flaky. Just like the time I went to
New Orleans. I looked at Detective Saunders. She looked back at me. Hopeful, still worried. Have you not noticed I've been here the whole ride? That's when it hit me. She hadn't been there the whole ride. She just turned up. Much like the figure in front of me, I swerved the car. That was a motorbike. We go over. Must have been 2-3 times. I don't know. I hit my head. I crawl my mangled body out of the car. The figure that stood in the road was still there and turns to me and walks forwards. It was myself. Saunders says, "You're too close to this. You're off the case." I tell her, "What case? I've not been on the force for, about 2 people's worth of stories by now." She says, "I don't think you understand, John. You're off the case." The figure that was me says he has to take a leak out of his fingers. There's a little puddle of pee in the floor right in front of me. He says, "I'm gonna be you from now on. The John you know is gone. There's a new one," and he pees out his fingers and he's an alien. I've never been one much for doing what people tell me. I light my cig I was rolling as I talked to him. He says, "Oh, you got a light?" I go, "I got a light. You may not like it though." I flick it into the engine of the car, which is pierced from the crash. Car blows up. Still don't look at the explosion, even though I'm engulfed in it. But this son of a bitch is going down with me.
Find out next week on random noir stories. Safe.